Yes, Mzansi, welcome back. Your Feel Good Breakfast Show, the first day of August, as it is, and welcome to the new month. And with that, some new tips and obviously some new assistance when it comes to relationships. And you've heard it all day long. Now, building on from our relationship topic this morning, we are delving deeper into it with all our discussions. And this next panel discussion is something that we're going to be focusing on when it comes to deal breakers in relationship as well as marriages. Now, what are deal breakers? They exactly are something along the lines of behaviors, values, and characteristics of a potential long-term partner that you fundamentally disagree with.
Yeah. Okay. It's going to be a very interesting one. And then taking us through the various types of deal breakers, which you can come across in relationships this morning, is founder of Acon Consulting and life coach, Linda Jean, as well as mental health counselor and relationship coach, Sade Dubois. Now, join in on the conversation. We want to hear from you. Send us those WhatsApp voice notes. What are some of your deal breakers in relationships and why? Those WhatsApps on 063-408-8863. It's a hot one, ladies. Good morning.
How are we doing?
Good morning.
It's going to be an interesting discussion, and I know the voice notes are going to be coming through thick and fast. But Sade, let me ask you the first question. We found out a little bit about what exactly deal breakers are, but what are the differences between, let's say, a deal breaker and something like a red flag?
Ooh. Okay. Okay, so a red flag could be like an alarm bell or an alert that you might experience when you witness some, behavior that could indicate a potential bigger problem that is potentially resolvable or potentially unresolvable.
Okay.
So, for example, if your potential partner's displaying sort of rapid mood swings, that could indicate a mental illness or could indicate that this person's actually just struggling with like a temporary sort of imbalance or a life issue. Both of those are resolvable if the potential partner is willing to sort of seek help, seek counseling. So this becomes a red flag that's a potentially a resolvable problem. But if the person is unwilling to take accountability on how that behavior might be affecting the relationship or the connection, if they are unwilling to seek help in any sort of way, this could be then a deal breaker. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, that's a good place to start. But
yeah.
Linda, it sounds to me like it's very important for us to establish what our deal breakers are to avoid any sort of long-term challenges. Am I correct in thinking that?
Quite right, to be so. So in any relationship, one of the most important things is communication, right? And we need to communicate what our boundaries are so that our partner knows where the safe zone is in which to operate. If we aren't self-aware enough to know our own boundaries, how will we know when someone has overstepped them? So it's so important. In coaching, we do a lot of work, self-discovery work, self-journey work, so that you get to understand what is acceptable for you and what is not.
I like that. And also, I imagine, makes it easier for you to communicate that in your relationship.
Absolutely.
Which allows you to prevent any feelings of despair or whatever comes with not being met. Sade, maybe you can bounce this one back to you, because now that I kind of understand deal breakers a little bit, one thing that often comes up and something I hear a lot is when kids get thrown into the situation with the relationship, right? So what happens in the situation where your opinion or view on having children is different to your partner? Does this become a deal breaker, or is it something that is, in your opinion, like you mentioned earlier, solvable? Is there a resolution to this? It's kind of a gray area, I would think. Or what's your opinion on this one?
It could be resolvable,
yeah.
But I think it should be a deal breaker. If your desire to have kids is something non-negotiable for you, then you should find a partner who matches that ambition for their life. If you kind of ignore that to keep the connection, then later on there's all sorts of resentments that come up, and that could pose some intense challenges later on. So I think this discussion should definitely be had like sooner rather than later, and yeah, so.
It's because it really is fascinating to think about how much is involved in these interactions we have before getting into a relationship. Sometimes you find third parties, I like to call them, where friends and family get involved in the decision-making process or the selection process of a potential partner. Linda, if somebody's family just simply will not approve and that their opinion matters, what level of deal breaker is this?
Oh, it's a tricky one, and it happens all the time. You know, if your mum does not like your boyfriend or your girlfriend, things might get interesting.
Yeah.
You know, she might make your life pretty difficult.
Yeah.
So it comes, again, down to self-knowledge. You've got to understand, how important is my partner to me? You know, am I going to allow myself to be influenced by my family's opinions, or am I going to stand firm and follow my relationship? How much pressure am I prepared to withstand? How much drama can I handle? And it's a difficult one, but a lot of people have overcome it. So you need to just focus on not the deal breakers, but what pulls you together.
Oh, well, Linda and Sade, I absolutely love this conversation. Don't worry, Mzansi, we are going to continue with this in just a bit. We have just found out about what deal breakers are, establishing it, and how important it is for yourself to communicate. But later on, we're going to put some scenarios into play and hopefully get some opinions from you as well on the WhatsApp line. So don't go anywhere. Our panel of expertise will be right back at you in just a bit.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. It is your Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso. I'm having so much fun with this because we're back and we're here to continue our conversation on deal breakers in relationships and in marriage. Deal breakers can encompass a whole range of issues, from religion, you know, all the way to weight gain in a relationship. And of course, here to dissect it all for us, distill it and unpack all of this for us this morning is founder of Acon Consulting and life coach Linda Jean, as well as mental health counselor and relationship coach Sade Dubois.
Yes, and of course, we've been having an incredible discussion. And on top of that, we've been getting a lot of WhatsApp voice notes coming through thick and fast. I think everybody wants to weigh in or share something on this topic. And we've got one in right now. Let's hear this one. First voice note of the day on deal breakers. Let's hear it.
My deal breakers are cheating and lying. I cannot tolerate those two.
Cheating and lying, definitely up there on top of the list.
Yeah?
Oh, totally.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't think we need to say more about that, right?
We've got one more. Let's hear who is here with a voice note. Hello.
Good morning, Expresso. My name is Agnes, and I think my ideal relationship breaker is substance abuse, because it can cause your partner to mistreat you, be untrustworthy, waste money, and also poor decisions that might hurt you.
So certainly not ideal, but definitely a deal breaker for her. Clint.
Hi, my name is Clint. My relationship deal breaker is cheating. Doesn't matter how much I love you. If you cheat, that's a deal breaker. We are done. There's no going back. That's it, cheating.
Clint, thank you. Thanks,
Plain and
guys.
simple.
Good voice note.
Knows what he wants, knows what he does not want. All of these examples, are they definitely deal breakers, or would they possibly be considered as red flags as well? Maybe. I know we were mentioning red flags earlier, Sade.
So these are not red flags. These are actual behavioral issues that can be resolved. And we can heal from an infidelity, and we can recover from addiction, and we can resolve a lot of these things that were brought up. But again, it's up to the individual. You know, we have to have our parameters set up for what we're going to tolerate and what we're not going to tolerate. And that is our guiding force, not really like our overall sort of definition of deal breakers.
Okay.
And Linda, from a life coaching perspective, I imagine that you must encounter a lot of people who speak about finances within relationships, and there's so many sort of sub-conversations to have around that. What are some of the more common deal breakers when it comes to finances in relationships?
Well, finances, I mean, money is the third most common reason for divorce after irreconcilable differences and infidelity. So money is a big deal, right? It puts a lot of pressure on people. It kind of can bring out the best in us, and it can bring out the very worst in us. So yeah, you're right, that in coaching we do see this. But like Sade was saying, a lot of these things can be overcome. If you communicate, if you plan, if you work together, you really can overcome a lot of those challenges.
So I suppose a deal breaker that might fall under things that you can't overcome would be something like if, you know, a man says, for example, they don't want the woman ever handling any finances or having any opinion around finances. You can't recover from that. That's just their thing. It's a deal breaker.
Unless the woman is comfortable with that, right? Because if the two of you agree and you
Yeah.
work on the same sort of values, then that's okay. But it's when one is pulling in one direction and the other is pulling in the other.
Conflict.
Another one that I see come up a lot, and maybe something that's a bit more surface orientated. In relationships, often one partner or the other tends to pick up weight, right? And I know with men especially, I've heard this a lot, where it's like, now if you're going to pick up weight, it's like this shallow view of it being a deal breaker. Is it actually a deal breaker? Is that like something that should really be taken into account, or should gents be looking, and not necessarily just gents, but anyone in particular, just be looking a little bit deeper than that?
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. If you're going to have a major problem with your partner picking up a few kilos here and there, then it might mean that you have some control issues.
Yeah.
And the issue really lies with you. But there is something to be said if your partner is going to completely sort of let themselves go. That could indicate, lack of self-worth, or if there's no reasonable effort to resolve that, that can bring up a lot of unconscious feelings of unsafety. Is this person able to look after themselves? If they can't look after themselves, how are they going to participate in this relationship? How are they going to love me? So it can cause some unconscious sort of deal-breaking feelings.
Oh, I can definitely imagine that.
Ooh, so much to navigate when it comes to relationships and how we consider them and getting into them as well. But it's certainly something to think about, food for thought when it comes to what you are willing to get into and what you're not prepared to, I suppose, delve into when it comes to getting to know someone. Thank you so much, Linda. Thank you so much today. You have been fantastic this morning.
Thank you for having me.
The details are on screen for us to get your voice notes. So 0634088863. We do continue all throughout the morning, the remainder of it, to hear from you.